Hello, Statesman Nation. I'm Wade Steinlogie, SID here at William Penn. Happy 2021. Here's to hoping that 2021 is a lot better than 2020. First, inside the playbook of this year, we're going to get into right away the recaps, previews, and then we will talk to Steve Williamson, head coach of the women's basketball team, as well as Bailey Reardon, one of his student athletes. So without further ado, we've already had several games in the books here in 2021. Men's basketball has gone 2-1 early on this calendar year. Unfortunately, losing their first game of the year to Baker last Wednesday, 84-69. But the team then bounced back with wins over Peru State, 90-73 last Saturday, and Graceland in a shootout, 121-101. On Wednesday night. Women's basketball team has split its first two games of 2021, falling 76-60 to Baker last Wednesday, and then defeating Graceland this Wednesday, 71-53. The men are 13-1 overall, 11-1 in the Heart, while the women are 8-5 overall and 8-4 in Heart of America Athletic Conference play. The men's wrestling team also has been on the mat early on. Just this past Tuesday, a few days ago, the team split a pair of Heart of America Athletic Conference duels, defeating Waldorf 50-3, and then falling to number 9 Graceland 32-21 in a very highly contested matchup. 6-2, 2-1 are your statesmen on the mat. This coming week, huge week for William Penn Athletics. We finally get to see a few of our latter winter sports finally get on the court, get to action, as track and field will open its indoor season after having a couple cancellations. They will hopefully finally be at the Graceland Invitational tomorrow down in Lamoni on Saturday, while the men's volleyball team will host Culver Stockton next Tuesday in its season opener, and then they will also play at number 1 Grandview next Thursday. The men's basketball team will be hosting Mid-American Nazarene tomorrow, Saturday, and the game of the year, as always, the TP game, will be next Wednesday. Grandview coming to town to play in Penn Gymnasium, so make sure you bring out your toilet paper for that game, and let's fill. Unfortunately, all of my understanding right now, all of the tickets have been sold. So if we're able to get a ticket, definitely make sure you bring out extra toilet paper, as obviously limited capacity in Penn Gymnasium. Women's basketball team will also be hosting Mid-American Nazarene and Grandview this week, both at home. The wrestling teams, women's wrestling will resume its season next Thursday at Grandview, while the men's wrestling team will be at Benedictine next Tuesday, and then hosting Central Methodist next Thursday. So starting to get into it. This will be the start after a very calm November and December. Some of those matchups being moved from fall matchups that would have been in November got moved to the spring. It's going to make even a crazier spring, but this is the start of the craziness here, as we fully expected it to be. So a lot of opportunities to come out and see your statesmen, so don't miss out on them. Again, track and field, men's volleyball starting out the TP game next Wednesday. Just a lot of chances to see your statesmen in action, so make sure you come out. Once again, we'll have Coach Williamson and Bailey Reardon in a minute. You are inside the playbook. Welcome back, Statesman Nation. We are now joined by head women's basketball coach Steve Williamson, as well as sophomore Bailey Reardon out of River Falls, Wisconsin. Thank you guys so much for coming in. We got some wonderful weather out there and all that. Steve, you got here safely, so that's all that matters, right?
That's right.
Got it happen. All right, Coach, basically we're kind of mid-season report time here. Team sitting at 8-5 overall, 8-4 in the conference. We've had some goods, we've had some bads. Just kind of talk about where the team is right now.
I mean, it's been a challenging year. We knew that coming in just because we had so many new players, and we only had really 3 players coming back that had varsity experience. Bailey was one of them, Brittany West, and then Maddie Rogan. And we started the year off right away with Maddie Rogan being hurt and missing the whole first half of the season. And we had a lot of new kids that we thought were going to be very, very good players for us, and they have turned out to be great players for us and great additions to our team. And then we have another injury with our point guard, who we were pretty high on, Macy Cookta, coming in and was doing a great job for us as a true freshman, playing the point and running the team for us, and then she got hurt. And so, it's been a frustrating year, because every time we think we're taking that step forward, then something happens. And we haven't had a practice yet this year with everybody healthy and practicing with us that should be with us. So, but I think, and still dealing with the COVID issues. It's like every day your schedule's changing. It seems like that first semester, we thought this was going to be our game schedule, and you start playing things, and then that's not. And having games canceled because of COVID, and then trying to, just adjust on the fly, it's been challenging. But to my players' credit, I think they've done a great job of staying positive. They've done a great job of trying to compete and overcoming issues that they can't control. So, we've kind of adapted the quote that, control what you can control and don't worry about what you can't control. And they've done a good job of that. And part of that, a lot of that comes down to Bailey West, who's a great senior, or Brittany West, who's a great senior leadership, and Bailey, who is also our captain, who's done a great job of trying to keep kids positive, and because they know what it was like last year, having our season cut short and not being able to go to the national tournament, and that's still kind of a hard thing to overcome right now.
Yeah. All right, Bailey. Sophomore year. As a sophomore, you'd expect, I'm going to be, continuing to learn, and I'll have these seniors here that are going to, be able to continue to guide me in the right direction. And then, as a junior, then I'll be able to step into a leadership role or whatever. And unfortunately, just with a big graduating class last year, you're kind of thrust into now being one of those people that everybody else is looking at for the guidance. So, talk about that change, that quick change of just being a freshman and totally green to now being someone that everyone is staring at for. What do we do now, Bailey?
So last year, my role was smaller than it was this year. Obviously, I wasn't a captain. I was a freshman. I wasn't really expecting to play a whole lot, just because in high school, your mentality going into college is like, I'm going to go, I'm going to learn, I'm going to try to do my best, but obviously I probably won't get enough minutes.
Sure.
And so, I was coming off the bench, trying to do my part, playing hard, trying to earn my minutes in practice. Obviously, I was competing against Autumn and Christmas and Journey, and so my role obviously was smaller. And then this year, obviously I was one of three coming back, and with Britt.
How was your guys' summer, I guess, going into that, knowing, all right, did you guys talk a lot, saying, this is what we have to do?
Right, yeah. I think Britt and I tried to get everybody together, tried to talk. I know we talked to Bree and Kyla over the summer, just talking about Coach Will's expectations. And I think during preseason, too, it was like we were trying to get everybody to just do their best, but also, not be intimidated by Coach Will. I think my role...
That's tough.
Right. I was just trying to let everybody know what they should expect and just, do their best, I guess.
Yeah.
And to know their role in the team.
Right.
And I think the best thing about what Britt and Bailey both did was they led by example.
Yeah.
When they got here in the preseason, you couldn't have two. They were two of our hardest workers by far.
Yeah.
And that's what you expect from your leaders. And they'll be the first. They weren't the fastest. They weren't the most athletic, but nobody outworked them. They really competed in every drill that we did, every conditioning thing that we did. That they kind of set the tone of. And like she said, this is what our expectations are. Coming in as a freshman, like Bailey said, it's tough, because you don't know really what the expectations are until you get here. And she adapted very well. I think she's being pretty modest and said that, she was coming in as a freshman and she had a heck of a freshman year for us. I mean, she's one of the best freshmen in the league last year.
Right.
And so, come in and out, you got that much more expectations on you as a sophomore, and sometimes that can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can, but she stepped up and has done a great job with Brittany West, really setting the tone of here's what our expectations are. We want to win. This is the way the program's going to be. This is the way coach is.
Right.
This is how we work, because a lot of kids, you get some transfers from other schools and they have their own way of doing conditioning. You have some freshmen coming in that think that basketball is just, you just pick the ball up and just play games.
Sure.
And that's not the way it is. So having those guys as leaders and really setting the tone for our program is what it's all about. And I couldn't have asked for two better ones this year.
Right. I
didn't really take the pressure very well at first. I think now I'm kind of getting in the groove of things. I just felt like it was my job to always be positive, and even on days that I wasn't positive, I was kind of struggling with that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into the role, starting was a lot different for me. I was really used to just coming off the bench and, knowing what to do from there, but I had to, figure it out as I went, I guess, as a starter, and so that was really difficult for me.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I think I'm finally understanding my role, I guess.
Right. And with Coach Will, it's got to be a little bit of in one year, out the other, right?
Right.
Just roll it off the back, all of that.
Yeah, I try.
Yes. And obviously, and that's another thing that obviously you got to be teaching everybody else. Hey, it's okay. He loves us. He just.
It's always like I tell him, listen to what I say, not how I say it.
Yes, exactly. All right, Steve, let's talk about the second half of the year here. Not a lot of games left, just the way that everything has, kind of been played out, front loading the season and stuff. A lot of good competition left. What are the expectations for the rest of the year? What are the goals that you guys are trying to set?
I think for us, our biggest thing is, like I tell our kids a lot of times, I just want us to go out and compete.
Yeah.
Compete and play hard. Give ourselves a chance to win by doing that, because, we've always said we're not going to be the most athletic, we're not going to be the most talented. But again, we want to have that mentality that nobody's going to outwork us. And we need to start approaching games like that all the time, regardless of who the opponent is. It's not like we're always playing against Grandview or playing against Clark or Mid-America. We're playing against ourselves and trying to get better each and every day, and just competing to the level that we can get to and see. I think once we get to that point and they see how good they could be by just outworking people, that's 90% of the battle. Then you let the talent take over after that. And we've had some good games. I mean, as banged up as we are and as limited as we are in certain areas, I got a girl playing the point right now who is not a point guard, but she's done a great job. And, and Bree Winland has done an awesome job and just getting the ball to people and her assists are way up and just running our team. And again, she's kind of stepped into that role. We've asked her to do more than what she wants to do, and she's accepted that. Kyla Moore's really strong, had really good start of the season, was playing really, really well for us. And right now she's kind of in a slump, but she's going to get out of it. You can just tell that she's a competitor, and so she'll be fine. But we just need other people to step up, and we need to get healthy. That's the biggest thing. If we could ever get everybody healthy, it'd be nice to see how good this team could really be. But we're not going to use it as an excuse. We're going to keep playing hard. We got some of the best teams coming up still with Mid-America on Saturday, and Grandview and Clark, and Evangel still have to play, and Central Methodist. I mean, we still got a lot of teams left on our schedule that are very, very talented and very, very good. So we can either rise up to the challenge, or we can just sit there and try and make excuses, and that's not what we're about.
Yeah, sure. This team is guided by defense, especially this year. You guys are just trying to. You're not going to win a lot of 100 to 90 games. Let's be honest. So, I guess I'll leave it on you, Bailey, to answer this. Talk about how that maybe it hasn't really shifted. You guys have always been a defensive team under Coach Williamson, but especially this year where we really have to lock down on the defensive end, and hopefully that will transition into an offense. And that really what came to be on Wednesday night against Graceland. So just talk about the defensive side of things a little bit.
Right. I think obviously with losing our bigger scorers like Brenda from last year, Kate.
Yep.
Obviously we do have scorers this year like Kyla and some other girls that have stepped into their role. It's just been harder, I guess, this year. Defense is a huge, what's the word?
Huge part. We'll just go huge part.
Just like in practice, that's our main focus, defense. We work on it all the time. against other teams, we switch it up, say this person wants to guard the high post because we're gonna pack it in because they want to get the ball in the high post, and we're just gonna let the average shooters take shots. So yeah, I think just with like losing the players that we did last year, this year our focus is to get stops on defense, have our hands up in passing lanes, and then score on the offensive end.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to say our defense creates our offense.
Right.
And so, I mean, when we defend the way we're capable of defending, we get easy shots in transition, we get out and run. It's always funny because people always talk about, your team seems to play harder when they're making shots. Well, they're making shots because we're playing great defense.
Right.
When we play great defense and we're getting stops, we're playing with a lot more energy, a lot more excitement, and that's creating easy opportunities for us. So we've been focused a lot more on defense and switching things up a lot more than what we've had in the past, just because we understand we got to hold teams to under 60 points for us to be successful, and that's a hard task in women's basketball because there's a lot of good scorers in this league, and so. But that's our goal, and if we want to win, the girls know that we got to rebound, we got to defend, and then we score in transition.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Last but not least, let's talk about Bailey a little bit. What she brings to the team.
Bailey's a unique individual without a doubt. I mean, she had a great freshman year, came in and really stepped up because she worked her butt off as a freshman. One thing I know about Bailey, she's always going to work hard for us, and she's just a competitor. And coming in, having such a great year as a freshman year, you have a lot more expectations on you as a sophomore, and you're stepping into so many different roles as a starter, as a captain, as a leader, not just a girl coming off the bench who nobody knows about. Everybody knows about her now in our league, and sometimes that pressure can be overwhelming, and you can feel like it's too much. And maybe in the first half of the season she did a little bit because the expectations were high.
Right.
But lately now she's been stepping up. She's relaxed. She's going back. You see the old Bailey starting to play and doing what she needs to do. But she's a special player. She's still got things she's working on, and she works on them every day and trying to get better and better. And one thing about her, she just never quits. So she's a special individual, special player, and we would not be the team we are right now without her. So she's one of the best I've ever coached.
Yeah. Well, and the beautiful thing is, yes,
Aw,
we'll see if you can walk through the door when it's all said and done. Head's getting pretty big. Nice thing is, hey, you got 2 more years, so a lot more time to continue to improve. So thank you guys so much. Mid-American Nazarene tomorrow. Obviously a tough opponent there, top 25 foe coming into Penn Gymnasium. 2 o'clock start, men play at 4. So definitely come out. The road should be good by tomorrow, so we should be good to go. Once again, Steve Williamson with the women's basketball team, as well as sophomore Bailey Reardon out of River Falls, Wisconsin. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.